In today's tutorial, we're going to learn wet on wet techniques, how to mix color directly on the paper, and also how to use soap to create texture, and finally using toothbrush and wash for splashing technique. In the end, what you have is this very beautiful, gorgeous, and colorful galaxy night sky. This is very simple and easy and suitable for everyone, even for beginner and even for kids. So I think that this is gonna be a very fun activity for families on weekend. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Teresa and I am a self-taught watercolorist. And in this channel, I really want to inspire you to be more creative, to have fun with art. So every week I will upload watercolor tutorials on a variety of subjects. It can be floral, it can be landscape, it can be botanical. So if this is something that you sound interesting, please consider subscribing and hit the notification bell so that you will be notified whenever I upload a new video. And without further ado, let's get started. First, let me walk you through the supplies that I'm going to use for today. For the paper, I am using the Stonehenge Legion 100% cotton paper, 140 pounds, and the size is 7 by 10 inch. And for the pens, I am going to use the Winsor & Newton Cotman pen palette, and this is probably the only one that I've been using since I started. And for the brushes, today I'm going to use two brushes. The first one will be the Princeton Snap size 12 for the big wash, and for the smaller detail I am going to use my black velvet pointed brush size 6. And here are a couple of supplies that you will need for this specific painting. First is white wash. Feel free to use any brand of your choice. And second, you will need some soap, and I think this one is probably available in everyone's kitchen. And next, you will need to grab a toothbrush. This is the new one, the travel brush that I grabbed from dollar store. So just grab any cheap travel brushes would be good. And I also have the masking tape. And you will need 2 cups of clean waters and some tissue for blotting. First, I am going to secure the paper by tapping down to my cardboard, and also in the end I will have a very nice and clean edges. And next, I am going to show you a little bit of the composition and also the color structures that I am going to use for today. So in this painting, the night sky will be the main element. So I am going to save 2/3 of the paper for the galaxy sky and 1/3 of the paper for the pine tree silhouette. And here is the scratch paper. I am going to explain a little bit how I will apply the colors for today's painting. So this is our painting, and this is gonna be the silhouette pine trees, and this one gonna be very dark values. I'll be using mostly dark colors like indigo, paint grays, and purple. And this whole area will be dedicated for the sky. And as you can see on the corner of two sides, these two, it will be the darkest value. So I will apply bluish colors, probably indigo, cobalt blue, and paint grays. And in the middle, it will be purple and permanent rose, even though I say purple, but this is Galaxy Night Sky, so I will apply all of the purple, or all the purple shades that I have available in my palette, and feel free to do so with your colors. And purple and red are some sort of the same family, so when you mix them together, they will blend it very well. And the bottom area right here where it overlaps with the pine trees, I will paint it with yellows. And of course, different yellow shades in my palette. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I want to make it that way so that it's easier for you, but feel free to apply whatever colors you like. And trust me, no matter what color, it's gonna turn out so beautifully in the end. And now let's pick up the brush and get started. First, I am going to wet my brush with clean water and apply onto the paper. Remember, this is a wet on wet techniques and we're gonna blend the colors directly on the paper. So make sure that your paper is wet so that all of the paints can blend together nicely. Otherwise, it's gonna be very hard if the surface is dry. And now I am just gonna take my time and slowly throw in different colors onto the paper and watch them mixing together. Since the paper is already wet, so you don't actually have to do a lot in terms of blending. Just slash in the colors and let the colors blend together automatically. And remember, you don't have to follow exactly what I am doing here. I mean, in terms of colors, you can always use whatever colors you like or whatever colors that are available to you, because the more colors, the better. This is a galaxy, and as you can see of the galaxy photos, they all look so gorgeous because they are so colorful, and that is something that catch our eyes. So this one, I encourage you to really be messy and get creative, and just kind of, if you want to add this color or that color, feel free to do so. And trust me, this is the wet on wet techniques. Whatever you put on the paper is gonna work out in the end. For this tutorial, I am painting on a large size of paper, and I think this is probably the biggest size that I have painted since I started. So it's gonna take longer for me to put on the colors, but if you just use a small size of paper, probably it's gonna be faster for you. And one more thing is that since I am using the 100% cotton paper, so the paper is gonna be wet for a longer time for me to work on it, and that is one of the advantage of 100% cotton paper. But just in case you are using student grade paper, which is not 100% cotton paper like Canson XL or Strathmore, so if the paper is dry, you can always use the brush and wet the brush with a clean water and wet the surface again before you continue applying the colors. And yeah, that's a little tip for you, because I know how to work on the student grade. I actually started with student grade paper up to now. I just recently upgraded to 100% cotton paper. So I know it's quite frustrating sometimes because student grade paper tends to dry very fast, and it can actually make you feel like the paper go against you. But don't worry, it's okay. It's gonna work out on every paper for this painting. Just wet the surface again if it's too dry. I think this kind of painting is the kind that you can get messy and some shop just do whatever you want, but the result turns out always nicely in the end. And yeah, as you can see, I'll just go back and forth to apply the colors until it reaches the value I want. And you should do the same thing too. And remember, the watercolor always dries lighter than it looks when it's wet. So always apply more than you need, so that for this one, later on we're going to splash some star into the sky. So if the sky is very dark, then you're gonna make the star stand out, and that is the result that we want to achieve here. That's why you see that I kind of just go back and forth and apply the color to reach a darkest value that I want. You can see when I apply the wet pens onto the wet paper, it's kind of have the blooming effect, and I don't mind that. It actually create the illusion of clouds and make the sky have more texture, and I love the look. But if you don't want it, you can always blend it out. And yeah, as you can see, the process is so easy, just back and forth and splashing in the colors. And I think this is gonna be a very great activity for you to relax, and you don't have to think too much, just playing around with colors. Okay, so now I think I am pretty happy with the sky. The next step is gonna be a very fun step. We're going to use salt to create texture. I actually is gonna get some salt on my hands so that I will have more control into the area I want to create the texture. And make sure that your paper is still wet at this stage, otherwise the salt technique's not gonna work out. So I am going to put the salt mainly in the middle area where the purplish and red is, so that I can have some sort of Milky Way effect. Okay guys, here is the close-up when I first applying the salt. This little tiny salt gonna soak up a little paint from the paper and create a very unique and special texture for the sky. And now let's just wait and let the paper dry completely before we can move on to the next step. And now you can actually take a break and just go and grab a coffee or tea. Or if you want to speed up the process, you can always use the heat tool or your hair dryer to dry the paper. Guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video so far, and if you do, I would appreciate if you could give me a thumbs up so that my video can reach more people, and that is a great way to help my small channel grow. And I think that the painting is very dry now. Let's jump right back into it. Okay guys, here's the close-up of the paper, and at this stage it's almost dry. It's still a little bit damp and I haven't removed the salt yet, but as you can see, they already created a very beautiful and unique texture. And now I already removed all the salt, and I absolutely love the texture that I am having right now. And just want to show you quickly, here is some of the watermark that we have. But don't worry too much if you have these, because later on when we apply the silhouette, it's gonna cover everything. Okay, now we move on to the silhouette part. For this one, I am going to use the combination of 3 colors, which are indigo, paint gray, and purple. I want to have some sort of mixture of colors in this silhouette because I want them to still some sort of have a hint of colors, because usually if it's a silhouette you would think that it's completely black, but actually in the nature there's no such thing that is actually completely black. It's always have some kind of tint of colors in it, and also to make the painting look a little more alive. So this is a technique I'm going to use that mix different colors together. And by the way, paint gray, purple, and indigos, they are in the range of dark value colors, so they're gonna blend it very well together. And one more thing is that for this part I am applying the wet on dry techniques, which means I actually didn't wet the paper before I apply the colors, because I don't want the color to maybe accidentally blend it with the color of the sky, so we're gonna mess up the sky. So that's why you can see that it's kind of create some of the mark where the silhouette is, but I actually don't mind. It's actually create more depth. And if this is something that also happened to you and you feel like you cannot make an even layer, so don't worry too much. Now I'm going to use my small brush and start painting some trees. I will pick up some of the paint grays, and as you can see, the way I paint trees that I just use the pointed tip of the brush and kind of push it up a little bit and make it look like that is a tree. And this is how we painting trees. For this painting, you don't actually go in and paint every tree to fill up the area, but this is gonna be a great way and fast way to paint trees. And plus, for this painting, the main element that we want to the viewer to focus on is the sky. So really, just paint the trees very loosely and that would be okay and should be good enough. I also pick up some purple to paint the trees, so to make it look like that there's a light reflect on the trees. Next, I am going to use my small brush to actually paint some more pie tree but in a more defined shape. This is actually an extra step. I just feel extra, so you actually can skip this step if you don't want to. But actually, painting pie tree is one of my favorite and I feel very relaxing, so I actually don't mind spending extra time to just adding a couple more trees into the painting. Okay, the painting is almost done. One more final step, and this is gonna be a very fun step to do. I will get some of my whitewash and put it on my palette like this, just a little bit. Oop, I think that I put out too much, but that's okay. And use my brush and add some more water. Make sure that you have a little bit thick consistency, so it's gonna have a very opaque colors when we adding onto the paper. Otherwise, it's gonna be very transparent if you add too much colors. If you add too much water. Now I will use a more tissue to cover the silhouette area because I don't want the star to splash all over that area. And now I will use my toothbrush, pick up some of the whitewash we just mixed, and start using my fingers and splashing the colors onto the paper to create stars. As you can see, this is a very small, tiny star, and this is what we want. If you use the brush to splashing the whitewash, it's gonna make the star kind of big and I don't really like it, so I think that the toothbrush will be a great tool for this painting. I have to admit that I'm kind of addicted to this step, and look how beautiful it is. is pretty much done at this stage. What I'm doing right now is just, again, I'm feeling extra, so I am adding a couple more bigger dot to have some sharp bigger stars so that it have a variety of sizes. And also I also add like shooting stars on the sky to add a little more interest. And feel free to follow me, or you can absolutely skip this step if you don't want to. And you are the artist, this is your painting, you have the right to decide whatever you want in your painting. Okay, now we officially done. I promise I'm not gonna add anything more. And this is probably the most pleasing step that we do for now. This is taking off the tape. I feel very satisfying whenever I take off the tape after the painting. Let me know in the comment if you feel the same too, because I love watching on those TikTok videos that where people finish the painting and then they just show the process where they take off the tape. For some reason, it just makes me feel so happy and exciting to see the painting comes together. And here's the painting for today. I absolutely love it. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope this tutorial is helpful for you and you had fun making art. And please share with me your painting and tag me on my Instagram at teresav-art. I would love to see your paintings. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel so that you can see more videos in the future. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!